Okay. Well, today is May 4th. And so it was interesting because I was I was thinking about things uh, related to protest, related to violence. And I've been kind of singing a song in my head, or maybe it was because my dad mentioned it the other day. Um, the song is by a band called Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and it's called Ohio. And it was written about the Kent State Massacre. And purely coincidence, today I I was singing a little bit of Ohio, and I was just sort of interested to see like a little bit about the Kent State Massacre, and I Googled it, and it was today. It was May 4th, and I was that actually really made me do this today. I said, well, I at least have to be prepared. So yeah, kind of like a strange luck chance thing, but yeah, today is the 51st because it happened in 1970, the 51st anniversary of the Kent State Massacre, which happened in Kent State, a university in Ohio, which is where the title of the song came from. And during the Vietnam War, protesters at Kent State University were confronted by uh, the the National Guard. They're not exactly like the army, but they're like the army that does things, let's say, domestically in the United States. When they need the army to do something inside the country, they usually call the National Guard, and they're usually people who are like retired military, I guess. And the National Guard ended up firing shots into a crowd and killed 4 people. They killed 4 people. They wounded several others. I think something around like 20 people were wounded, and 4 people were killed. And this was sort of like the last straw for the anti-war movement. The next day, every single university in the country had well, I don't, sorry, I'm exaggerating. I don't mean to say every single one, but most universities in the US had walkouts. So the students walked out, the students joined the protest, and it's a pretty big event in the like ending of the Vietnam War, because at this point Richard Nixon is president, and the war was incredibly unpopular, but this just made it absolutely unpopular. And so it's an interesting event because it kind of set off the chain for the ending of the Vietnam War. So that happened today, 51 years ago, which again was a total coincidence, but I thought was an interesting coincidence. And especially since we're in a moment of protest, I thought it would be interesting to share a little bit of that. So I'm going to share the screen, and then let's see. Yeah, here you go. Let's see, and you can see the presentation now, right? Okay, cool. And you can see me. Very good. Alrighty. So one last thing would be, there we go. All right. So today I prepared this talk called "The Music of Protest." Some of it is more personal music that I liked and listened to as a young adult, as a teenager growing up, and others is other songs I picked because I thought that they were representative of the genre of protest music. Um, Definitely not a complete representation, because music is an art form that lends itself to politics very often. but I just wanted to talk about a couple of cases that are kind of most representative. So another thing is that I was looking today just to see what the world is saying about Colombia, like what's going on in how much are they paying attention to it. Also to give myself some perspective, because I'm not out on the streets, and I'm receiving a lot of information from people. But I mean, just like anything, I think we need to be critical of the information that we receive, and so trying to put that information into context, to understand it as best as I can, and to make decisions and to make judgments based on that. And it's not easy, but I felt like it was important to see what other people were saying. Obviously, it's also important to see what Colombians are saying. But something that made me feel reassured was that the United Nations is also looking at what's happening in Colombia. They're also sort of in disagreement. They are paying attention, and I think that's important enough to say like something serious is going on, and maybe it's not, maybe it's not right, and you get that objective perspective, I guess, from outside. And it's nice because it's hard to have an objective perspective right now. So I wanted to start with this guy, Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie is a pretty well-known folk singer, and his sort of most famous statement or action, if you will, was this phrase, "This machine kills fascists," and he had that painted on his guitar during the 40s. And it's interesting because he was a big supporter of the United States and their and the fight against fascism in Germany. But at the same time, he was also critical of the government and made songs about protest here in the United States as well. And so what I wanted to sort of show with this one, I guess, is just that this tradition is definitely an old one. It's not something that's just happening today. It's been happening for a long time. And also to sort of show the nature of protest, which might kind of be obvious enough, but I thought that it was also worth mentioning, because right now, I mean, the protest, I think, is about a lot of different ideas, but the idea of equality, and especially economic equality and inequality, plays a big part in this. And so that's kind of represented by this song called the 1913 Massacre. I don't know. Okay, so here's the big test. If I play this, will you hear it? So here we go. We'll give it a try. There you go. That's pretty easy. That will tell us immediately that the answer is no. All right. So plan B, which is sad because this is a music club. So you would think like, well, at least he's gonna play some music, right? I'm gonna play a little bit of music from Spotify through the microphone because I think that's the best I can do, unfortunately.
What if you watch on YouTube?
That's YouTube, and yeah, I've had this problem before, which is that it doesn't. I think it's about copyright. Yeah, I think it's a copyright thing. But I'll play a little bit through the microphone, and what I wanted to show you was some of the lyrics. And this is based on a true story, a real event, which was that in 1913, in this town in Michigan, Several lots of people, the employees of a copper mine, were gathered to celebrate Christmas. And they had, brought their families to celebrate Christmas, but they were also on strike. And so what happened is the owners of the copper mine sent some of the people, sent some of their hired, well, they call them in the song thugs. And these guys kind of stood outside this hall while the people were celebrating Christmas. And then suddenly someone yelled, there's a fire, even though there wasn't a fire. And the people panicked, got scared, and ran outside. And in that stampede, it says here 73 people died. It says 73 children died. I read that it was 73 people died and 59 of them were children. So almost 60 children were killed, stampeded to death in this situation. And the song is commemorating, but also sort of bringing our attention to this injustice, and again, an injustice that is also created from an economic disparity, that these people were trying to. You can see that it says here that in the song they make less than $1 a day. And so the lyrics refer directly to their economic situation, and their fight was an economic one, and that's what led to this situation. It's a slow kind of folk song. Everybody remained on the floor. The gun thugs had laughed at the murderous joke, and the children were smothered on the stairs by the door. Such a terrible sight I never did see. We carried our children back up to that tree. The scabs outside still laughed at their spree. And the children that died there were 73. Piano played a slow funeral tune. The town was lit up by a cold Christmas moon. Parents they cried and the miners they moaned. See what your greed for money has done. Well, that's going to be kind of a theme in a lot of these songs. A lot of the songs are going to bring up the sort of economic situation of the time, but not all of them, not necessarily. And so another one that I wanted to show was John Lee Hooker. John Lee Hooker is a blues musician, and he had a song called I Don't Want to Go to Vietnam. And it's kind of a cool little blues song about not wanting to go to Vietnam. The lyrics are not in blues. Often the lyrics are simple, but it's the kind of the attitude that they put into it. And so let me just find it really quick. I should have made a playlist. I knew this would happen. Let's see if it's on Spotify. If it's not on Spotify, then we can't listen to it, I guess. But we could still see some of the lyrics anyway. Oh, look, that one. Can you hear it? Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Mister.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hi, Mister. Thank you.
I think we can hear it very softly. It's hard. No, I can't.
No?
say that I can hear it. No.
I don't want to go to bed.
All right. Well, yeah, and it's also a very slow and kind of long song. It'll take a long time to get into the lyrics, but the lyrics are, again, simple. It's blues, so it's very repetitive. But he's sitting here thinking, I don't want to go to Vietnam. He's sitting there thinking, I don't want to go to Vietnam. You men in the street have so much trouble of their own. Why they want to fight in Vietnam? And so, again, the idea is it's very simple protest song, but kind of one that's not necessarily connected to economics, and I thought might be interesting as a kind of a case study. But it's a very simple song. This is the song that I was talking about at the beginning. This is Crosby, Stills and Nash, Ohio, and I'll pull that one up on here because I want to listen to the lyrics as well. For those of you who just came in, welcome. We've changed the topic. We're no longer talking about literature and music. We're talking about protest and music. And we started off by talking a little bit about this song because this song is about an event that happened on May 4th, 1951. And so kind of by coincidence, we're celebrating, well, I don't want to call it celebrating, we're commemorating the anniversary, 51 years of the Kent State Massacre, where the National Guard came in, and there you can see some of the images. I don't know if you can hear it, but the National Guard came into Kent State University in Ohio and shot into a crowd of protesters, killing 4 of them and wounding several other people. And it was a really important event in the kind of the finalizing of the Vietnam War. And so the lyrics are, listen to the second verse, which is B6. So the song, again, the song makes direct reference to President Nixon, of course, the president during the time, and discusses this event, which obviously people were all over the country were totally against. People were very angry, and the good result of it all was that it led to the de-escalation and eventually the end of the United States action in Vietnam. Well, I'm gonna bring you guys a little bit more into the present. This is a band that I grew up listening to. I think I started listening to Anti-Flag when I was like 15 years old, and it kind of marked my my adolescence, and also made and also changed my way of thinking a lot. When I think about how I feel about things today, even as an adult, I think a lot about the ideas that I was exposed to by listening to punk music. And And of course, it's not on Spotify. But Seattle Was a Riot was a song that was in response to another real world event. In 1999, the World Trade Organization, one of the biggest sort of economic organizations in the world, had a conference, and they held this conference in Seattle. And Seattle is kind of known to be a very liberal place, a place with a lot of progressive ideas. And for many months, the sort of the left-wing community knew about the conference that the World Trade Organization was going to have in Seattle. And so they planned massive protests during that week when they were there. And they filled the streets of Seattle with people. And the police overreacted to the situation, as you can maybe hear in the song. We'll see if we can hear the song a little bit. But the lyrics to the song discuss that very aspect of protest, which is that at least most of the time, most of the protesters arrive with the idea of being peaceful, of not, being destructive, of not hurting anybody. And that the consensus is that what happened in Seattle was that the police overreacted, and that caused major problems with tear gassing and with basically warfare in the streets of Seattle. And this is what they sing about in the song. So the lyrics, "Why must we riot? Why must we protest?" are kind of like a call, like a genuine question. Why is it that we have to do these things? Why do we have to fill a street with people in order that our ideas can be heard or can be listened to? And again, this is a critique of the dynamics of power in our society. And so they talk a little bit about the riots. They said they tried to pin it on us. So us being they said they were a lot of left-wing anarchist groups that opposed the things that the World Bank were doing. But that those people came to protest peacefully, not we didn't show up with gas and billy clubs. They just wanted their voices to be heard. And again, in the chorus, they asked the question, why must we riot? Why must we protest? Just to be heard by the world. And I think it's, again, another very relevant song in today's world. Let's see if you guys can hear this one. I don't know. You hear?
No sounds coming through.
You can't hear it?
No.
No. You see, that's what happens when you do it last minute. Otherwise, I would have had the playlist ready to play for you guys. And I'm sorry though. Well, you guys can look up this song, "Seattle Was a Riot" by Anti-Flag. It's another good piece of history, and to add to the conversation, I think. But, since we only have 45 minutes anyway, we might as well try and make the most of our time and make sure we get to it all. And then I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. Definitely, I don't want this to be a monologue. So the last example that I have is hip hop. This is the early 90s, but it's a pretty iconic song. I'm sure I can find this one. If I can't find this on Spotify, I'm canceling Spotify. And this song is called Sound of the Police. Yeah, it's the first song by KRS-One. So I'll put up some of the lyrics and then I'll put on the song. You guys have probably heard this song. It's a really really famous song. But I'd like to talk at least about a couple of lyrics because they're pretty interesting, and I've put those up. But
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. Stand clear, done man attack. You can't stand where I stand, you can't walk where I walk. Watch out, we run New York. Policeman come, we bust him out the park. I know this for a fact, you don't like how I act. You claim I'm selling crack, well you be doing that. I'd rather say see ya, cause I would never be ya. Be ya officer, you wicked overseer. You hot shot, wanna get pops and be a savior. First show a little respect, change your behavior.
so in this song, KRS-One, who is a very political rapper, he's probably one of the earliest kind of people who really kind of put serious politics into his music, into rap music. And one of the interesting, very interesting comparisons he makes here is obviously we know from current events that relationships between African Americans and police in many cities in the United States is very complicated. And in this part of the song, he makes this direct comparison between slavery. The overseer would have been the person on the field watching the slaves as they worked. And he repeats the word overseer until it sounds like the word officer. And so he makes this direct comparison between slavery and between sort of modern authority, which I thought was really interesting because if anybody has seen this movie, documentary. It came out recently. It's on Netflix. It's called The 13th. It's about the 13th Amendment, which was the one that freed the slaves. But they talk a lot about the ways in which the slavery system was never really destroyed. It just sort of changed into the modern prison and law enforcement systems. And it's a really interesting look and something that's worth watching and giving some serious attention to. And that is what I prepared today to talk about. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. Just finally a quote at the end, which is that the plight of the oppressed ends with the oppressor. It's from another band that I really like called Os Rotten. They're a hardcore punk band. And an important phrase to sort of wrap up this conversation. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say, because as I said, my presentation is obviously more from my cultural perspective. But more than anything, I'd like to just open up that conversation. So thank you for listening. And yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. Fire away. Sorry, I couldn't play all of the songs today. I wish I could have, but oh, cool. You guys are raising your hand. That's awesome. So Isabella and then Juan Antonio.
Mr. Well, I think that was so interesting because I didn't knew all these bands, and I listened a little bit of all, and I also like rock and hard things like that. So it was nice to know some other things. And yes, it's interesting because they all that songs are telling like a specific stories and a specific events that occur. And yes, I don't know, it's interesting because, well, I think that Residente, Calle 13, it all pues, it has music in Spanish, and it talks also directly to a problem that it's basically like all Latin America. So it's interesting how they talk like in specific that events. I also listen to some songs that are not, well, you also show something like that, but they also tell us like general problems, not a specific events. Yes, I think also that it's fine to tell problems and to fight that problems through music, because, well, I know another artist that she has a song that it's about the person that la violó. I sorry, it's because it's so hard to think in
It
English.
was raped.
Yes, the person that raped her, and this is a song that I like cry with that song because it's so hard how they fight with that problem with music, and
Mhm.
it's like directly to the heart. And that's it. Thank you.
No, thank you for being here, and thank you for contributing. Jacobo, did you want to say something? Jacobo.
Can I go first?
Oh yeah, sure. I didn't know you also wanted to talk. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, teacher. So as Isabella said, I also think it was very interesting. I love how people can express themselves through music. It's a very good and a different way to express us, yeah,
Ourselves.
and ourselves. And well, I also find it very interesting the songs you picked and the bands you picked because I didn't know them. And well, thank you for showing us this and demonstrating that we can protest through music too.
Cool, man. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad I'm glad that we can find alternatives, right? I don't know, I've been posting, I've started to post a lot of the songs to social media that I've found important in these days. So that's kind of what one way of protesting, like you said. Jacobo.
Mister.
Yo.
Yeah, my microphone is fixed,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
No, I wanted to say that it's very interesting how music is like a very creative and useful way to protest and spread a message to the people, because it's not requiring like any violence or any like like any harsh actions, but with a melodic composing you can like spread a message to a large amount of population. And I like the hip hop one, making this like ¿cómo se llama eso? Un univocalismo, como the thing that you say of officer, and the other word that I didn't remember. What was it?
Overseer.
Officer. And what is that?
Overseer.
Yes.
Is somebody who would, when there were slaves, the overseer would watch the slaves and make sure that they were working, and of course practice violence against them when they were not working. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because the message is like very reflexive, and it's maybe true because slavery maybe is not as harsh but as it was before, but it left like a social disgusting or like a yeah rejecting in some people that continues until nowadays.
Mhm.
So it's nice to have these songs that communicate these problems and yeah and open their voice for this.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the opinions. Yeah. I like I said, I've felt very conflicted in these days. Sometimes I feel like I should be out marching also. But it's not so simple. And so I look to music. Music helps me a lot with my ideas, more than anything. Expressing my ideas through music. Not I don't make music, but when I listen to other people's songs, I identify. I feel something in those songs, and it helps me at least feel. Which I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if I should feel better. Maybe the best feeling would be to actually go out and protest, but it's complicated. So cool, guys. Thank you. Any other recommendations for songs about protest? Maybe we could make like a protest playlist. We could even
Cancerbero, he's from Venezuela and it's like from the hip hop.
I've heard him before.
Culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just like the protest. He also treats about death and he
Mhm.
met the demon and all that. But he, I think he got a brother that was shot from a yeah for by an officer. So
Mm, okay.
that was a great impact. So he made songs about this.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Isabella, since we have an inn at the Ed Train, I don't know. Maybe if you guys are thinking about, discussing this topic, maybe that would be an interesting activity, the protest playlist or something like that. Could be fun. Yeah, go ahead, Isabella.
I also kind of, well, I don't know. I think about two songs when you start to talk about the topic. I have to like, it's not the main topic, but those two songs, I don't know, are related. It's one about the rape girl that it's called Praying.
Praying.
I don't know. Es que la verdad es la única canción que me sé de ella, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's about Kesha. I think I don't know. I'm not sure. And the other song I thought was of 21 Pilots. It's called Ode to Sleep. It's kind of more related to his psychological problem, but I think it also can work in this situation.
I think it's also important to recognize that our inner world is not totally separated from the outside world, right?
What was the Kesha one? Sorry for interrupting.
Praying, and oh, okay, she put it in the chat. Cool, yeah. We'll check it out, and maybe, I don't know, think about that collaboration. Maybe we can all contribute to the playlist. Might be interesting. Cool. I don't know. You guys have any other suggestions, any other ideas, anything? Or we can, actually, I'm a little bit scared that Zoom will just end the call anytime, but
No,
any.
mister, it's infinite.
Oh, really? Forever now?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
Yes.
If you say so.
I
Well,
have
then,
a question,
yeah.
Mister. Sorry.
Mhm.
You will continue doing this.
Yeah, definitely. If people come, I'll definitely do it. I was debating with myself at 6:02. I was like, well, if nobody comes, I'll just do it by myself, maybe, and then I'll record it. But
A monologue.
yeah, if you guys are coming, I will continue to try to communicate better. I will probably do another one next week. In fact, I'll probably do the one that I had planned before, which was music and literature, since we since we decided to take a detour today and check out protest music. So, and if you guys ever have your own ideas of songs that you'd like to explore, talk more in depth about, sometimes we've done different activities in the club. Sometimes I really like to analyze one song and kind of look at how one song communicates an idea. But sometimes we talk about multiple songs around a topic but when I say we, it's usually me. So if you guys want to talk about something, let me know. Just tell me, and we can open up this space and you can present something that you're interested in. Just, the most important thing would be that it's appropriate, right? Appropriate for the school context. But I always put 13 and up on the flyer. So, if we have a bad word or two.
PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13. You can have I think in a PG-13 you can have one F word. I think that's the
Mr.
rule.
If
Okay.
you continue doing this, I think I will come.
Okay.
But yes, be sure for telling us the topic, and I will bring some other music and songs to share.
Cool. Well, let's do that. How about in a week we'll do music and literature, and if you can think of any songs that you think would be relevant, let me know, or just bring them that night and we can discuss them. Okay.
Perfect, mister. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
teacher.
Have a good
Hi,
night.
mister.
Bye
You
bye.
Thank you for
too.
this.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming.